Welcome everybody to Circuit Zandvoort for a very soggy round 16 of the British Formula 4 Championship, certified by the FIA. It's the first time that we've seen these cars racing outside of Europe. It is also the largest ever grid that we've had for the championship. 27 cars taking to the circuit, including the largest number of females we've had on the grid. 8 female drivers within those 27 cars that are on the grid. Deegan Fairclough setting the time that will see him on pole position. It's not based on their fastest times from qualifying. This first race of 3 over the course of this weekend, it's based on their second fastest times from qualifying. So number 7, Deegan Fairclough, the championship leader, on pole position, just 18 years of age, the UK driver who did say Zandvoort was one of his favourite circuits. He lines up on pole position. Alongside is the leading rookie from the second fastest qualifying times, Martin Molnar, who also says that his favourite circuit is Zandvoort as well, the 15-year-old Hungarian. Maxwell Dodds, the 18-year-old from the UK, lines up on the second row of the grid alongside Alex Nenovich, the Australian. Again, another favourite circuit for him being Zandvoort. It seems as though where they like Zandvoort, they have gone well in qualifying. And fifth on the grid is Ella Lloyd, the 18-year-old Welsh driver. Again, you ask her what her favourite circuit is at the start of the season. She said Zandvoort as well. Reza Suworthan, who raced in Ginetta Juniors last year, is next up on the grid. He's 6th on the grid. And Ernesto Rivera is there in 7th, with Abby Pulling in 8th place. 9th place is Yampu Kui, the 16-year-old Chinese driver, and 10th on the grid is James Higgins. It's going to be Matthias Rieber, who is next up in 11th place alongside Kai Dirianani, with Leo Robinson on 13th on the grid alongside Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Bart Harrison is 15th alongside Jack Sherwood, with Jessica Edgar and Nina Gadaman lining up 17th and 18th respectively. Jan Ho Pu is next up in 19th alongside Zach Scholar, with Chester Kiefer and Alex Bird on row number 11. Row number 12 is Bianca Bustamante making her debut in the championship alongside August Raber, with Carrie Schreiner and Chloe Chong next up, and Aurelia Nobles is at the tail end of the field. So the cars are out on circuit. We are set for a 20-minute race for round 16 of the championship. Deegan Fairclough, who's already claimed 5 wins so far this year, add a couple of seconds to that, add a couple of thirds to that. He leads the championship on 225 points coming into this weekend. Second in the championship is Alex Nenovich, who's qualified 4th on the grid. He's on 199, and 3rd in the championship is James Higgins, who's only 10th on the grid, so he's got a little bit of work to do. So Deegan Fairclough's is the silver and black car. They're on the right of your screens. Martin Molnar is the blue car that's alongside. Green flag at the tail end of the field. The red lights are on, and we're about to get round 16 of the British Formula 4 Championship, certified by FIA, underway. There's a staller on the grid, and that looks like it's Reza Suworthan that's going nowhere. He's finally fired the car up and has got going, but thankfully everybody avoided him. But Deegan Fairclough with a stellar start up towards Tarzan for the first time. The championship leader is going to lead the way as they all tread their way very gingerly around for the first right-hander, and then start to head down the short straight through Gerlach Bocht and up towards Hungenholzbocht, which is turn number 3. The new banked section of the circuit was reprofiled back in 2020 when the Grand Prix returned to the Netherlands. So everybody's safely through the first couple of corners. You can see those differing lines as they head through Hungenholzbocht, and then start to build the speed up Rob Stollermacher-Bocht, up towards the top section of the circuit before they head back over the hill and in towards Chevlac, where the visibility is, I would imagine, very much at a minimum there. Our camera's struggling to see through the spray. We've got one off, and that is going to be the number 44 car that's off and through the gravel. Should be able to return, but that's Ella Lloyd. So she started 5th on the grid, the 18-year-old, and has had a problem in there. By the look of things, we've got some contact further back, and it's going to be one of our rookies that's been tagged in the back, Zach Scholar, the 16-year-old Australian, bumped in the back. I couldn't quite see which car it was. I think it might have been Alex Berg that made contact with him. It's certainly one of the Vortec cars, but it looks as though Zach Scholar has recovered from his spin. Whether that's caused him any damage to the tail end of his car, I think the car that made contact with him, which was possibly Alex Berg, may well be destined for the pit lane at the end of this lap, because he certainly caused some damage to his front wing. And I think we can just see what happened through the spray. You see them appear over the top of the hill, and then differing lines. There's the contact to Alex Scholar, which pitches him into a spin, and amazingly I think the front wing did stay on the car that made contact with him, and it was indeed, yeah, Alex Berg. So both of them able to recover, but may well be that both of them potentially destined for the pit lane. But Deegan Fairclough leads by 2.1 seconds at the end of the first lap of the race. The reason being that he's largely the only driver that can see where he's going. Look at the spray. The conditions have really closed in over the course of the last few minutes. That's a late lunge up the inside. Trying to prise the door open is Kai Dirianani, and he's looking to try and work his way through and past Ernesto Rivera, who makes his debut in the championship this weekend. But Ernesto, having none of it, qualified at 7th quickest based on their second fastest times from qualifying. But Kai Dirianani cannot quite prise the door open there. It wasn't for want of trying, that was for sure. So speeds start to build again as they head up towards Sky Flak and then in towards Masters Bocht, where the circuit starts to descend back downhill. So the only person that can see where he's going is Deegan Fairclough into the pit lane at the end of that lap. By the look of things, we've got at least one car, which is August Reber, who's come into the pit lane, the rookie, the 15-year-old Swedish driver. Now, Martin Molnar, who qualified second, still running in second. Alex Ninovic, I said he needed to make a little bit of progress. The 17-year-old Australian qualified 4th quickest, and he is up into 3rd place. Maxwell Dodds is down into 4th. Ernesto Rivera, Kai Dirianani, Yampu Kui, Matthias Reber, Jack Sherwood and Leo Robinson complete the top 10 at the moment. But it's the high-tech Pulsate machine of the championship leader that's leading the way as they splash their way through the corners. Look at the amount of spray that's being put up. The Pirelli tyres trying to clear the water as best they can, but visibility at an absolute premium. And all of these teenage drivers, I think there's probably only maybe 1 or 2 drivers that aren't in their teens. Nina Garderman is one of those, who's just 20 years of age. But for August Reber, looks as though engine cover is off, airbox is off, fiddling going on to try and sort out whatever the problem is with his car. Now, Alex Ninovic, that time through, lapped 0.2 of a second quicker than the car in second place, Martin Molnar. So the Rodin Motorsport car beginning to close in on the blue machine from Virtuoso Racing in the hands of the Hungarian. So that's one to keep an eye towards, Alex Ninovic. He'll want to try and gain a place if he can, because of course his main championship rival, Deegan Fairclough, leads the way at the moment, and Alex Ninovic now is in prime position. I'm sure he can't really see where he's going. Almost extra sensory protection to try and work out where he needs to be. Ducks out of the spray to try and have a look as they start to head up towards the right-handers at Sky Flak and Masters Bocht. For the moment, it is still Martin Molnar who is there in second place. The yellow background to his number tells you that he's running in the rookie championship as well, where they've got the white background. They're not in the rookie category. And Martin Molnar, lies 3rd in the overall championship standings in the Rookie Cup. Now, Ninovic trying around the outside there to see whether he could muster something. Not quite sure he's going to be able to. He's almost running himself alongside, though, which could put him in prime position as they head up towards the braking area for the chicane at Heinz Ertz box. Splashing through the puddles goes Deegan Fairclough, and we have had the change. Alex Ninovic is up into second place, down to 3rd, but still leading the rookie category now is Martin Molnar. So Virtuoso Racing dropped down to 3rd place. Maxwell Dodds in the sister car from Virtuoso Racing running in 4th at the moment, with Ernesto Rivera for high-tech Pulsate running in 5th position. The start for cars number 4, which is Reza Saworthan, and car number 7, which was Deegan Fairclough, under investigation. Now, Deegan Fairclough is the race leader, but his start is being looked at by the race officials. He leads by 4.2 seconds at the moment from Alex Ninovic. And remember, Deegan Fairclough leads the championship and leads the race. Alex Ninovic, 2nd in the championship, and where's he? 2nd in this race as well. 25 points for a race win, 18 for 2nd, 15 for 3rd. There's 1 point awarded for the driver setting the overall fastest lap in each race, and 2 points awarded for the driver that sets the fastest time in qualifying. So there's plenty of points up for grabs over the course of a weekend. There's slightly less in race 2 because of the reverse grid format for it. Wheel to wheel there, looking to try and squeeze her way through is Bianca Bustamante. Now, she's in that difficult position, that unenviable position, trying to attack and defend at the same time. The car that's behind her is Zach Scholar, looking to try and make progress after his problems early on in the race. Looks as though there's no damage to his car, despite the fact that he was bumped in the rear and the car did briefly rise up into the air. Looks as though the suspension has taken that load, and Zach Scholar's running in 23rd place at the wheel of car number 23. Bianca Bustamante just ahead, and now it's Chloe Chong just up the road from that. So that's a good little fight for 21st, 22nd and 23rd at this stage. Tegan Fairclough leading by 4.2 seconds. He really has had a mega season, Tegan Fairclough. No indication as yet as to what might be happening with the investigation of the start for both Risa Swarthen and our race leader Tegan Fairclough. That's still being looked at by the race officials here at Circuit Zandvoort. The 2.6 mile or 4.2 kilometre track that we're on. Now James Higgins, he's got work to do. You can see him opposite Lockett coming out of the corner. Somebody slowed there directly ahead of James Higgins. Was that Matthias Reiber? Was that one of the Finsis by Agenti cars, I think, that possibly slowed there and is still slowing as it's heading around the circuit now? So yeah, somebody will be destined for either the pit lane at the end of the lap or retirement, and I think it was the number 19 car of Matthias Reiber. So he retires the car, does the sensible thing, gets it well and truly out of harm's way behind one of the gaps in the barriers, so no need to even cover that by localised yellows. He's been so sensible with where he's parked the car, so the race can continue with 12 minutes of it to go now. Now James Higgins will have gained a place as a result of that, of course, up towards the braking area for Tarzan. Very late on the brakes is Bianca Bustamante, and as a result of that she leaves the door open for Zach Scholar to try and squeeze his way through. Zach Scholar trying to run side by side, but Bianca Bustamante should have the line up towards the next corner. Again, you can just see the car sliding through the little kink again, and it looks as though Zach Scholar is going to get the undercut coming out of Hugenhotsbocht and should be able to carry that momentum all the way through Rob Stollemakkerbocht and take the place away. So he's still running side by side. Now as I head up to Skyflack, then that means that Bianca Bustamante will have inside line again. And she's managed to hang on to it, so brilliant driving from Bianca Bustamante, who's raced Formula 4 cars before but is making a debut in the ROKiT British Formula 4 Championship, certified by the FIA this weekend. Zach Scholar still trying to make progress. So he started 20th, was bumped into that 360-degree spin and is now in 21st. So he's almost reasserted himself back to where he was at the start of the race. Still got just under 11 minutes in which to try and make a little bit more progress. So two cars out. August Reiber and Matthias Reiber both out of this race. So 27 being the record entry in the British Formula 4 Championship. And the battles still continue out on circuit. Zach Scholar cannot unlock the door to 20th position. Bianca Bustamante driving beautifully well. Again, you can see the small steering correction that just needs to be made as he gets on the power and the tail end of the car just starts to oversteer on him. Further up through the order, Kai Dirianani at the wheel of the Fortec number 8 car. He's running well in 6th position. He's got Yampu Kui sitting right behind him. So that's another one that we need to keep out for there. Our leading rookie at this stage is still going to be Martin Molnar in 3rd place as well, just to pick up on that one. And Tegan Fairclough, despite the fact that he leads by 4.3 seconds, is still setting fastest laps. Last time through, new fastest lap of the race from him, 1 minute 50.022. So 9 minutes remaining. You can see a slightly, and I do mean only slightly, a dry line. There's another car that's slowing out on circuit by the look of things. Now, was that as a result of a spin? I think that may well have been a recovery from Carrie Schreiner there, who returned to the British Formula 4 Championship at Silverstone last time out, having last competed in it a few years prior. But good to see Carrie Schreiner back at the wheel of the Chris Dittman Motorsport car and into the pit lane and back out. That's Jack Sherwood. Now, quite what his problem has been, I'm not entirely sure, but Jack Sherwood rejoining, and that is not ideal for the driver who lies 5th in the championship standings, Jack Sherwood, and has taken a few podiums over the course of this season. Hasn't had a win yet, but he's had 5 podiums, Jack Sherwood, and has been consistent. But he, oh crumbs, and then he's gone up into the banking, and it looks as though now I think he went too far up into the banking, and I think the front wing hit the tarmac because he went so far up into the banking, it's dislodged the front wing. And in damp conditions, he's going to have to be very, very careful how quickly he brings that back into the pit lane. But where did the wing end up as well? Because it's a banked section of the circuit. That wing may have slid back down on towards the apex there. Let's have a quick look. He locked the brake, went onto the banking. Yeah, and absolutely, the banking is so steep. One side of the wing made contact with the tarmac, and it's ripped the front wing off that car. So having just been into the pits, Jack Sherwood has got zero choice in these conditions but to return to the pits. And that may well be. He's going to and there's the wing as well. Yeah, it's deposited itself slap bang in the middle of the circuit. Now, in these wet conditions, it's actually slightly off the racing line. but it's not ideal, that being. It's a big piece of bodywork, and to wait and see as to what the officials deem appropriate there. Are they going to just cover it with localised yellows? Once all the drivers have been past it, they'll know where it is, but they may opt to possibly bring out a safety car. We'll have to wait and see. Battles still continue for the meantime. Zach Scholar has still not found his way past Bianca Bustamante, so the XL Motorsport car still pushing hard. Ran a little bit wide there on exit, which put him over the painted curb, so that will take a split second to get back on the throttle, and straight away you can see how much that's dropped him away from the coattails of the car that he had been doing battle with. So 7.5 minutes of the race still to go. Battle going on further down through the order. Ella Lloyd fighting away with Bart Harrison. So that's the JXR Developments car in the hands of Ella Lloyd, who had that off into the gravel trap. She's got right behind her Bart Harrison, who runs for Chris Dittman Racing. And just to confirm that the starts that were under investigation for Deegan Fairclough and for the number 4 car of Reza Thawartham will be investigated after the race, just to confirm that. So no penalties will be applied during this race. The track must be drying as well, because we've just seen Deegan Fairclough now post a 1 minute 48.758. So still continuing to improve all of the time. Bart Harrison and Ella Lloyd still together. Ella Lloyd hanging on to 15th place. Bart Harrison looking to try and squeeze his way through, the 16-year-old British driver. See if he can make a move. And then further through the order, we've still got some more battles continuing as well. And this is going to be James Higgins, who has got just ahead of him Jampo Kui, and Kaidiri and Arnie just ahead of that. So Fortip Motorsport from Finsis by Agenti and Roda Motorsport, they'll all be fighting over the final place inside the top 6, 6th, 7th and 8th place at the moment. But it's Kaidiri and Arnie that's hanging on to that position. Doesn't matter where you look, there are some fights going on. Chloe Chong, who's running down in 18th position, still fighting away with Bianca Bustamante. They seem to have dropped a little bit Zach Scholar after his small problem through turn number 3, or Hugenholtzspot, which is this section of the circuit where we've still got those localised yellow flags at the moment, and their problems as well. That's the number 48 car, which has lost a bit of bodywork. That's Rowan Campbell-Pilling. He's lost a section off the nose cone, hasn't he? Yeah, you can see the shock absorbers is exposed there, as he's lost something from that. He runs second in the Rookie Cup at the moment. Lost a bit of ground on Yang Pu Kui when we were at Silverstone last time out, and we'll just need to keep pressing on. August Raber still in the pit lane. Looks as though XL Motorsport still trying to resolve the problem with his car, to at least then get him out to understand if it's sorted for race number 2 that takes place tomorrow. Remember, it's a treble header weekend yet again for the British Formula 4 Championship. Their first ever visit outside of the UK. They'll go to Knockhill in Scotland next time out. Then it's Donington Park on the Grand Prix circuit, Silverstone National Circuit and Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix circuit, as they continue to support for the rest of the season the British Touring Car Championship. Martin Molnar, 3rd place, still leading the rookie category at the moment. Deegan Fairclough, the number 7 car, still out front and leading the way. 6.0 seconds now is the lead advantage between himself and his main championship rival, Alex Nenovich, who just can't match the pace for Deegan Fairclough. Now, Alex Nenovich is far enough back to not be in the spray of the race leader, but he's not quick enough to be catching the race leader. Maybe just settling for second in this one and see if he can bring the fight a little bit more in the reverse grid race that takes place tomorrow, which is based on the reverse order of the top 12 fastest times in qualifying, which I think come tomorrow's race we'll see a bit of a shuffle in the order as to who starts from pole position, of course, with that top 12 having been reversed. So I think tomorrow it will probably be Abby Pulling that will start from pole position, if memory serves me correctly. Now we've got less than 4 minutes of the race still to go. Deegan Fairclough again, just look at the way he's driving the car, bouncing over the curb, splashing through the puddles, and is still on the ragged edge, despite the fact that he's got 6 seconds in hand. He can afford to ease things off a little bit, but the body language of Deegan Fairclough's car will tell you that that's absolutely not on the agenda. He is pushing hard and trying to see if he can continue to dominate this championship. So he's done so well so far this year. Started the season with a win at Donington Park on the national circuit. He took double wins at Brands Hatch. Didn't win in the reverse grid race, but won the two that were based on qualifying times. He didn't win at Snetterton in Norfolk, and that's the only circuit he's not won on so far this year. He took a win in one of the races at Thruxton, arguably it could have been two, but he retired from the third race, and he also took a win in the first of the 3 races at Silverstone. So he has certainly been dominant, regardless of what track we've been to, regardless of what weather conditions that we've been racing in. And these are probably some of the most challenging conditions they've raced in so far this year. Kai Dirianani in the number 8 car, the white and red Fortec car, still hanging on to 6th position. Jan-Pooh Kwi still right behind him. James Higgins not too far away for Rodin Motorsport. So that little trio still fighting over who wants to be 6th, who wants to be 7th, and who wants to be 8th at the moment, as they thread their way with 2.5 minutes remaining round through Hooker Hunt's Bocht, and start to build the speeds again through, well, you can't really call it a straight, can you? Because it sort of flicks right and left again through Rob Stoltemacher. And then over the crest in towards Skyflak and Mastersbocht. So into the pit lane, Leo Robinson, we just saw briefly into the pit lane. Jack Sherwood is back into the pit lane as well. We saw 2 of the Chris Dittman cars busy fighting away there briefly as well, which will be Jessica Edgar and Bart Harrison fighting over 14th and 15th position. Here they are now on circuit. Familiar colours, the burgundy and yellow and black cars of Chris Dittman Racing. Chris Dittman, a very good driver as well in Formula 3s and F3 Cup that we used to see Chris Dittman racing in. Turned his now attentions to building a very, very good team over the course of the last few years, not just in the ROKiT British Formula 4 Championship certified by FIA, but we also see Chris Dittman racing out in other categories as well. And his 2 teammates, Jessica Edgar and Bart Harrison, really rolling their sleeves up and slugging it out for 14th and 15th place. Bart Harrison, a rookie in the championship, but Deegan Fairclough now the overall race leader onto his last lap of the race. It looks as though, as long as he stays within the confines of the circuit and doesn't put a wheel wrong, he is on course for another dominant victory in round 16 of the championship. 8.5 seconds almost he leads by, and he has led every single lap so far. It's going to be a lights to flagged victory potentially for Deegan Fairclough, and he would scoop up win number 6 of the championship season. He would add to the tally of championship points. He'll have picked up an extra championship point, I think, for the fastest lap in this one. He'll be picking up the 25 points for the win, and also in qualifying he did set the overall fastest time in qualifying. That will see him on pole position for race number 3. So I think so far this weekend it's potentially maximum points out of those that were available for Deegan Fairclough in what has been a dominant win, but equally as much, you know, when you're on pole position and you get the car off the line and lead in towards the first corner, you're always in a good position, because visibility has absolutely without question been difficult in this one. I've got to say, hats off to all of the drivers, bearing in mind, you know, they're all teens and, you know, lots of karting experience, less so for some of them in cars as they graduate through into 4-wheeled car racing. They have hardly put a foot wrong. We've seen a car with mechanical issues, we've seen a tiny bit of contact in the early stages, but we've not seen any cars really off and into the barriers at all, and that is hats off to them for driving in these really tricky conditions. Say, when most of the drivers are saying in the cold ambient temperatures there's no grip. Deegan Fairclough wins round 16 of the 2024 British Formula 4 Championship, certified by the FIA, supported by ROKiT, and that is his 6th win of the championship season. Alex Nedovic comes through to finish in 2nd place, and Martin Molnar is going to pick up a win in the rookie category. And for Martin Molnar, he will be absolutely delighted with that, because that is his and Virtuoso, who run him, it's the first win they've had in the Rookie Cup so far this year, so he'll be more than pleased with that. Maxwell Dodds comes through to finish in 4th place. Ernesto Rivera, great result from him, finishing in 5th position, and Kai Dirianani did hold off the aspirations of Jan-Pooh Kwi and James Higgins to hang on to that final place inside the top 6. Jan-Pooh Kwi finishing in 7th place, James Higgins was 8th, Abby Pullings 9th, Ronan Campbell-Pilling was there in 10th place, Reza Saworthan only 11th for Reza Saworthan, and he'd be disappointed with that. He lies 4th in the championship standings coming into this weekend, but it just didn't happen for him, having qualified 6th on the grid. He went backwards, I'm afraid. Ella Lloyd, who had a brief off into the gravel, comes through to finish in 12th in the end. Yohao Fu, 13th, Bart Harrison, Jessica Edgar, Nina Garderman, Chloe Chong, Bianca Bustamante did hold off Zach Scholar as well, actually, for 18th and 19th place. Chester Kiefer completes the top 20, and then we just need to get Carrie Schreiner over the start-finish line. Here she comes now, followed by Alex Berg. And I think there's probably only maybe one more car now to take the checkered flag, which would be Aurelia Nobles. Vincent Biagenti should be the last of the cars over the start-finish line, because we lost Jack Sherwood into the pit lane and Leo Robertson. We saw Matas Rieber park the car out on circuit, and August Raber never really got going, did he, in the XL Motorsport car with whatever it was, problems for him. I can imagine maybe some water finding its way into the engine somewhere, because they were fiddling around in the engine bay with the airbox off and wires being wiggled for quite some time. But disappointment for him in XL Motorsport in that one, but he should be back out for race 2 that will be taking place tomorrow. So all of the cars making their way back in towards pit lane, or sorry, race 2 will take place later on today, I should say, at around about 15:30 local time. So all of the cars heading back in towards the pit lane area, and I'm not sure whether we'll be able to confirm the results for you with a graphic, but I can confirm that Deegan Fairclough has taken his sixth win of the 2024 championship season. He will have further extended his championship lead as a result of that, in what were, without question, blustery, tricky conditions here in the sand dunes at Circuit Zandvoort, right on the west coast of the Netherlands, and of course the home of the Dutch Grand Prix, which is in the process of being built away. Let's confirm the results for you then for the first race of the weekend. Deegan Fairclough claims the win in fine fashion by nearly 9 seconds from Alex Ninovic, and Martin Molnar picked up top rookie cup honours to finish in 3rd place. Max Dodds was there in 4th, ahead of Ernesto Rivera and Kai Dirianani, who finished in 6th place, fighting off the aspirations of Jan-Pieter Kuyt and James Higgins, who was 7th and 8th, with Abby Pulling and Rowan Campbell-Pilling completing the top 10. Then as we head outside of the top 10, Risa Swerthen had a disappointing race to finish in 11th place, with Ella Lloyd in 12th. Yohao Fu was 13th, Bart Harrison, Jessica Edgar and Nina Gadaman complete the top 16, with Chloe Chong. Bianca Bustamante making her debut in the series, finished in 18th place, ahead of Zach Scholar, who tried everything to grab 18th but couldn't, and Chester Kiefer is completing the top 20. Then as we head outside of the top 20, it's Carrie Schreiner, Alex Berg and Aurelia Nobles were the last of the finishers, and Jack Sherwood, Leo Robinson and Matas Rieber were non-finishers in that one, and August Raber, who was 27th, never really got going, I'm afraid. But hopefully they'll all be back out for round 17 of the championship, where the top 12 are reversed for qualifying later on over the course of this afternoon. That is scheduled to take place around about 15:30 Central European time, an hour early of course in the UK. So having just seen round 16, let's look back at some of the highlights. When the lights went out, it was a good start from Deegan Fairclough, who was able to cover off Martin Mullner, who was under pressure for 2nd place as they went up towards Tarzan for the first time, with Ella Lloyd having made a good start at the wheel of the number 44 car. However, it wasn't to be for her, with a problem dropping her down through the order in the early stages. But for Deegan Fairclough, of course, in these tricky conditions, he was the only man with a clear visor and was able to work his way through to a very dominant win. There was contact in the early stages. Zach Scholar got tapped into a spin by Alex Berg, 360-degree spin, which amazingly didn't damage either car, and fortunately they didn't get tangled up with anybody else. Zach Scholar would recover, but would never quite get back to the 20th position in which he'd qualified. You could just see the contact with the car rising up into the air, came back down, loaded up the suspension, spun straight across the nose of some of his fellow competitors, including Bianca Bustamante, who swerved one way and swerved the other, as did Chloe Chong, to avoid the contact. So the battle's continuing out on circuits amongst the rookie competitors as well. So all of those cars with the yellow number backplates are the rookies. Martin Molnar continuing to lead the rookie category, whilst battles for the residual places in there were continuing. But Martin Molnar was finding himself under pressure for 2nd place. Alex Nenovic lying 2nd in the championship, trying to thread his way through. He closed onto the back of Martin Molnar and then was able to get himself in prime position to make the move stick as they went further around the lap. Martin Molnar would still hang on to the Rookie Cup win, but would drop down into 3rd position. Bianca Bustamante had her hands very full. She was trying to attack Chloe Chong whilst defending at the same time, and Zach Scholar was trying to make his progress back through the order. Then there were problems for Jack Sherwood. He'd only just come out of the pit lane, ran wide up through turn 3 at Hugenhochsbocht, and it's so banked there that it damaged the nose cone of his car. He would ultimately retire. But for Deegan Fairclough, he had a large lead and he still was not easing off, bouncing over the curbs, splashing through the puddles. He would come through to win round 16 of the championship and claim his 6th win in the ROKiT British Formula 4 Championship, certified by the FIA here in the sand dunes in the Netherlands at Circuit Zandvoort. We'll see what he can do later on when the top 12 are reversed and he finds himself lower down through the grid, he'll have even more work to do. So that's it for round 16 of the championship. We've got round 17 of the championship, the reverse grid race, coming up for you later on today. If you're watching, thanks for joining us. You can rejoin us at 15:30 Central European time. If you're watching back in the UK, it's 14:30. So that's all from Circuit Zandvoort. Myself, Mark Werrell, for the moment. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you later on today for round 17 of the championship. Goodbye.